Hi guys, my name is Kendra Freed. I am doing a reread of all the Sarah J Maas books, getting ready for Crescent City 3, and we just finished A Court of Wings and Ruin, and I got some thoughts. Come around, get a snack, sit down, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Liked and loved a lot of things about this book. Full spoiler alerts, we're going heavy into this book, and there's a lot of good things in this book, and there's a lot of things where I am screaming. Let's get to it. To start, this just is just a, see this is all of my notes for this reread until I get about, we're not even there yet, until we get to the novella. So we got some thoughts. One of the things I really liked about this book is Feyre going back and destroying the Spring Court. Here's the thing. It gets brought up multiple times that she did it. She was there for, I think she was only there for like 4 weeks. And Tamlin comes back like, you destroyed me. Girl, it was broken before she showed up, okay? It was already broken before you showed up. When you're out here growling at people at Tithe to make money, give you fish, it was already broken, girl. It was also broken when you brought that evil fucking head priestess come in and she can't even do basic magic and she's trying to position herself just right so she looks good in the morning glory. Girl, it was already busted up before you showed up, before she showed up. You can't, how can she break something in a month? How can she fracture an entire court and all of the armies and the entire people's beliefs about you in a month? You know what I mean? It was already a fragile system, and all she did was give it a little kick. When I first read the book, this book, and it was talking about Tamlin kept like giving her space to figure things out, it was really weird he didn't try to make more advances towards her. Didn't even try to kiss her or hug her or have sex. It was in the first like 2 books when you're with Tamlin, he's constantly like at the end of the day comes home and like, I gotta plow you and go to bed. So I understand he's trying to give her space, but maybe he gave her a little too much space. I don't know. To me, I mean, he can give me space. He can space the fuck on out of here because I ain't got time for his bullshit. That's just me. Sorry, Tamlin girlies. One of the things I thought was weird is she didn't, when Feyre goes on the big scouting trip with everybody and that's when she decides that she's actually gonna leave, she never gave Rhys a heads up. She even said when she woke up, like, today's the day I'm leaving, they're gonna split and I'm gonna go one way and I'm leaving. She didn't like send down the main bond, hey, I'm leaving, hey, just a heads up, this is probably the day. Or when she does actually leave, because everyone splits up and she goes back and gets all of her supplies and her equipment and gets the knives, she didn't send down the bond, hey, I'm leaving, can you meet me somewhere? You know, so you can fly me or winnow me back. Like she didn't do any of that. And she even says like 3 days into her climb, like, why didn't I call Rhys? Exactly, why didn't you call Rhys? How's Eris doing, by the way? She's about to leave. She has all of her equipment. She has the knives. She is about to book it out of the forest until she finds the head priest, what I call her Enith, but I'm sure her name is Inith or whatever the fuck. I don't care. She has Lucian tied up with these bonds that have special stones in it that nullify any power. So he's completely tied up and he can't do anything besides brute power. And I don't think he wants to overturn her like that. But of course, Feyre comes and saves him and these stone shackles drop to the ground. Feyre never picked them up and took them with her. And I understand that it could probably affect her power if she grabs them. But if she's leaving a camp and from her former lover and all these other Senties and other people that have power, to me it would have been a smarter idea to take these stones just as a precaution. And it would have been also great down the road when we run into Lucian's brothers. I don't know if you have to tie them up for them to work, but I know you can start hitting people with rocks. But I feel like that would have been something good for her to have when she ran away. Just knowing Tamlin's following you. Like that enough is for me to bring these stones. But, or she could even take those stones back to the night court and they can have people look into it and see how they're made, how they can maybe make it themselves for the upcoming war. But no, no, no. Let's leave the magical rocks that take away people's abilities in the forest and the spring courts. Now the spring court has it. A little parting gift. In the very first book, if you go into, so the part where Lucian and Feyre are going for their first ride around Spring Court, he's asking her questions and she's trying to find a way to convince him for him to go convince Tamlin to let her out of the thing. But she asked Lucian point blank, what are your powers? And he makes a joke about like, well, you're trying to find my weak spot so you can kill me. And he goes, and she's like, well, I saw Tamlin can winnow, can you? And he said, no, he doesn't have any natural born abilities. And besides high fae stuff, because he is high fae. So he can like open up doors and turn on lights. Like that's like pretty much the extent of his powers, what he explained in the first book. So in the third book, when they go into a cave to sleep for the night, his brothers find him and they're running out and Feyre turns at him and nods and he uses fire to help her bring down the mountain. Not once in the 3-book span from here did they say Lucian has fire ability. Now hold up. Before y'all go blah, blah, blah. I know he's the High Lord's son of the Autumn Court. But she asked him point blank, what are your powers? And he's like, I don't got any besides just high fae stuff. So it would have made sense if she wanted to bring the fire down the road. If he said, I don't have any powers right now because of the curse. I used to be able to do fire, or even in the second book, because we see Lucian a lot in the first book, it would have been good for him to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I have my fire abilities back and I can winnow, because that's another thing. Lucian can winnow. And he doesn't bring that up when when he's like, I don't have any natural born powers. He can winnow, which according to Rhys is kind of rare and at random. So to me, that should have been brought up. And it's weird to see him do fire. And yes, I know he is the Autumn King. Oh, he's not technically the son of the Autumn King. Or not the Autumn King. I'm so sorry. That's Crescent City. He's not Byron's true son. And they're trying to say that Lucian's mother, who doesn't have a name apparently for 5 fucking books, she has a stronger fire power than Byron does. Or Baron. I keep calling him Byron and Baron. It goes back and forth. Depends how I feel. But it's probably Baron. They're trying to say she has a better powers and that's why he has fire abilities, because Feyre even brings up when she realizes that Helion is his dad, that she's like, he has fire abilities. And he's like, well, it's from his mom. His mom has a stronger bloodline. But whatever. That's another thing we'll get into in just a second. One of my absolute fucking favorite scenes is on the ice. And Iris has her hair up and he's dragging her and she's holding herself by the hair and everyone's fighting and Lucian's about to go down and boom! They're like, oh, thunderous shadow showed up. No, not a shadow, an Illyrian warrior. And she's like, I sobbed at the sight at Cassian. And then 2 seconds later, boom, my man Asriel shows up. And she's like, I'm sobbing reading this. I'm crying like, yes, you go. Yes, let's do work. Oh my gosh, I got emotional too. I wasn't even there. And I was like, yeah, let's fucking go. Love that. Probably my favorite scene. That one stands out the most to me that I get so emotional too. So when Feyre gets back, they go into the night court to talk to Kieran, who is Mor's father, and they're trying to convince him to go to war, they're trying to convince Kieran to bring his Darkbringers to war to help fight on the good side. And to try to win him over, they bring Iris out. And Iris and Mor have their history. And one of the reasons I fucking can't stand Mor is she's a liar. And I know her power is truth if we ever get to see it. What the fuck does that mean your power is truth? If her power is truth, there would be a bigger thing if she was like, because my power is truth, I can never tell a lie, or I can always see the truth when you're lying. Like that would be like a greater power than my power is truth. Then where is it? You're lying left and right. Tell me where your truth is, because I ain't seen shit. Iris shows up and he tries to sweeten the deal with Kieran and they kind of have a fall through, whatever. Kieran leaves. Iris looks right at Moore and goes, you know what happened that day didn't happen the way you were telling people. And Feyre says she saw Moore shrink. Like, oh no, I'm being yelled at because the truth is coming out because my power is truth and I'm a fat fucking liar. He even says, what happened that day didn't happen. He even tells Feyre that you need to talk to Lucian because whatever you think happened that day didn't fucking happen the way it is. And maybe someday after the war, I'll tell you what happened. So something different happened from what Moore said happened the day where she got taken and stapled, or I don't know. Whatever happened, what Moore's side of the story isn't the full story. And so that's why I think she's a big fat fucking liar. And this book is the worst book for Moore because she is just setting herself up for disaster. I don't understand how anyone can root for her because I sure as fuck am not rooting. Besides rooting her catching one to the fucking dome, that's the only thing I'm rooting for. I can't stand Moore. I can't. That's a whole other story. We'll get into that. I can't stand Moore. One of my other favorite scenes is Feyre just came back, and so her sisters are both coping differently about how they just became high fae. And Nesta is just angry. And Elaine is losing weight. She's not sleeping. She's staring out the shadow or staring out the windows, and she keeps talking in riddles. And the High Lord meeting's coming up, and people are telling Feyre, we should bring your sisters to this meeting so people can understand that Hybern has a whole set of different powers and spells that he can take humans and turn them into fairies. And she goes, I am not putting my sisters in danger. I'm not going to do that to them. And when Amber says, you sound like Tamlin, I'm like, tell her, girl. Tell her. Tell her. Say it again for the girls in the back because... And Feyre is all stunned, and Moore's like, you better apologize now. Apologize for what? Speaking the truth? She spoke the truth more than you did, girl, so don't tell me that. I know Nesta is a hard-nosed, stubborn girl, okay? I know I am Nesta. I understand. Moore treats her like fucking garbage. Like absolute garbage. And what's weird is I know she loves Cassian. But you can't have your cake and eat it too, because Cassian has shown multiple times that he's interested in Nesta, and she's super defensive. She's constantly telling Nesta to like go do things. Don't you have a hole to slither under? Like she's constantly, that is your High Lord sister. Your High Lord sister. You understand? Your High Lady's sister. Your High Lady's sister. Again, I don't know if you know the hierarchy of things. So let me just explain. It goes Rhys and Feyre, Amren, you. So shut the fuck up to her sister. I know Nesta, again, is not a lovable bear. Stop treating Nesta like shit. And you get it. We'll get into that in a second too when she does what she does to Azriel. Girl. I feel like the Night Court inner circle is becoming like what the Spring Court was to Feyre. And they're like, oh, just give her space, give them space. They're just gonna go through it. They just need some time to figure things out. But that's what Tamlin did to Feyre. Didn't talk to her, didn't acknowledge her, and just let her try and do their own things. They didn't really try to push hard to help them. They kept fucking Feyre every time about, she'll say things like, I didn't know, but I didn't dare ask. Like she'll have questions she wants to ask people, then she'll say, but I didn't dare ask. If Nesta still had her powers, I didn't know because I didn't ask. Why the fuck not? Just go ask these questions. Why is everyone dancing around things? Just go ask people, hey, are you depressed? Do you want to talk about it? But she's like, I wouldn't dare say that to Nesta. Fuck off. Go and ask her. Maybe if you talked to her a little bit more, she would have been more open to you. She opened up to Amren. Maybe if you went and talked to her too, she would open up to you too. But as you can see, I'm a Nesta stan. So the High Lord meeting. All the High Lords are coming together because they got to talk about this upcoming war and battle strategies. And I saw TikToks. Taylor Swift walking out doing this, and it's like Tamlin on his way to the High Lord meeting to slut shame his ex at a war strategy meeting. And I thought it was hilarious because that's exactly what he did. He kept calling her names and attacking her and provoking her and saying things like, did you ever notice she hitches her voice up when she comes? I don't want some fucking Illyrian like secondhand toy or something like that. If I was Feyre, because she doesn't say anything to him, she just says, you can't twist the narrative to fit, make you look better. This is what I would have done. This is exactly what I've done. Ready? Let me show you what Kendra would have done. Ready? I would do like this. Hey, do you remember the time I went under a mountain because you wouldn't fuck Amanthra just for a little bit and try and find and kill her? But anyway, do you remember when I was human and then I went under the mountain and broke the curse for not just you, but every motherfucker in this room? Do you remember that? I remember that. Do you also remember the time that every time you got angry, your talons would pop out? I know this. Anyone who's come to our spring court manor would know, because your claw marks are on doors, tables, chairs, curtains. Do you also remember the time where you got angry not once but twice, and you made the wall shatter, and you threw a fucking desk at me twice, and I had to protect myself with a protective shield? Do you remember that? I do. Maybe that was the reason I fucking left. Do you remember the time when you locked me in a house and ignored my basic needs? I do. Maybe that's why I left. Do you remember the time I told you I was illiterate and you totally just ignored me and just went on the way and then expected me to plan parties and make invitations even though I can't read? Do you remember that? Maybe that was one of the reasons why I left. That's exactly what I would have fucking done at this meeting. Hey, do you remember the time where you wouldn't let me walk the grounds anymore or go outside and paint? Remember those times? I remember those times. Maybe that's the reason why I left. Maybe, did you ever think about that? Did you ever think about maybe that was the reason? Again, your system was so fucking fragile that it took a fucking illiterate human to come in. All she did was stomp on that crack and just went. That's exactly what I done in that High Lord meeting. I would have said it just like all. Do you remember the time you let a high priestess come in and you told me to just do whatever she wants because she knows better and you didn't value my opinion? Maybe that's why I left. Did you ever think about that type of stuff? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. That's how I would have started that. Helion shows up. Helion, I love him. He's from the day court. I love him. He walks in. Hey, I'm Helion. It's nice to meet you all. And they start talking about they think that the High Lord of the Autumn Court is actually going to join. And Helion goes, well, his wife remembers the last war. And Feyre's like, how would she know? How would you know if she knew this? And he kind of indirectly says he had an affair with her. And Feyre goes off. How long? When? Were you discovered? Did you have any fucking guilt that you were fucking another man's wife? Did you, like, she just goes off. Literally just met this man and she is grilling him. And even him, he's like, did you know that's not nice to ask these things? Hi, lady. Did you remember that? Did you remember it's not nice to ask these things? Not only is it not nice to ask things, we're in another fucking kingdom where they can report these things. And she's drilling him. You didn't even look at her today. And you know he's a terrible man. He's treating her like garbage. You're just going to allow that? He's like, there are rules and precautions, girl. I know you've been here for 3 fucking minutes. Okay? I ain't got time for your bullshit. You are 19 years old. I will launch you over this mountain. God, I would have loved that. That would have been great. And then, here's the thing. So in the High Lord meeting, this is... Mor is a disgusting character. Let me tell you what happens. We all know Az loves Mor, okay? We know he loves her. He doesn't think he's worthy of her. He thinks he's a low-born, Illyrian bastard, and always will be, and doesn't deserve her, okay? He saw Eris was talking shit to Mor. Azriel couldn't hand it. Goes, beats the shit out of him. And then he feels bad because he broke that united front of the Night Court because now they just look like brutes and they'll just attack anyone for anything. So he's feeling bad about that. And so instead of Mor pulling him aside because now she's uncomfortable, because Rhys tries to explain that when he does these public displays like that, she realizes how much he loves her and it makes her uncomfortable and it makes her scared. Whatever, sure. So instead of pulling him aside and said, hey, I really appreciate you standing up for me. It's not a big deal. He can say everything he wants. Or like, I really appreciate what you said, but to me, it's a little uncomfortable. It kind of showed people that you like me and that could be considered. Like, she didn't try and talk to him. You know what she does? She takes Helion to another fucking room and fucks him in the same suite as Azriel. Fucking Feyre's like, hey Reese, I don't want to have sex with you here in this place because Tamlin's here and it's just weird. And he's like, that's cool. She doesn't even like Tamlin, but more apparently loves Azriel and will fuck another dude in the same suite as Azriel's in. They could be separated by a fucking wall for all we know, or wall, or room. It doesn't matter. And then she goes and tells Feyre, I just feel awful, but it's my way of saying I'm not his and he doesn't own me. Fuck you. Why is Azriel with her? Why does Azriel want her? Tell me, is it because she's a hot blonde? Guess what? We got other hot blondes. We don't need her. We can find you someone else that's gorgeous. Oh my God. Mor is disgusting. I can't stand her. She's so high up on my list of characters in the Sarah J. Maas universe that I can't fucking stand. Oh my God. And that chapter, those last 2 chapters were terrible chapters for these strong women in Sarah J. Maas, where Feyre's yelling at Helion. But here's the thing. She'll go grill Helion, or Helion, I call them both, about his affair. But will she go yell at Mor for like, hey, what the fuck is going on? Why don't you go make a declaration to Azriel or go talk to him? Or, hey, why the fuck did you fuck another dude when Azriel just made a public display of how much he likes and loves you and respects you? Why would you go do that? Because now he looks like a fucking fool. He looks like a fool for defending a girl that wants nothing to do with him publicly. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Am I the only one that gets this angry about? No one talks about this on Book Talk. No one talks about how Mor's the fucking worst. That's me. I get so heated. I get so heated. I'm not an Azriel girl, okay? I like all the Bat Boys. I just don't think we've had enough of Azriel for me to fall deeply in love with him like I do with Cassian and Rhys. I like Azriel. I think when his book comes out, we're all going to be Azriel girls. And I'm probably going to be him too. Once we have his book, I'm sure I'm going to be screaming his name. But right now, he's not my favorite Bat Boy. And guess what? I will stand up to fucking Mor's garbage. Azriel, you can get anyone you wanted. Anyone. Pick a girl from Book Talk. Doesn't matter which girl, or even stay in your own realm. Whatever. I hope you fuck the shit out of Bryce. I hope Bryce is your soulmate. Kill Mor. No, they'd probably be best friends, get all drunk and slutty together. I mean, there's a part where Feyre goes to Rhys the night before battle and she says, I'm not comfortable being on the front lines with you because I'm not a skilled fighter on the front lines because there's death all around you. She's more comfortable of going into buildings and saving people. And he says that's like totally normal. You've only been fighting for a couple of months and so it's okay. And I agree. I 100% agree. She's not ready for battle. Here's the thing. It makes me appreciate Aelin. Because you know damn well Aelin's going to be trotting down there with her swagger and blasting motherfuckers. And it made me appreciate her skill more and appreciate it. But I know Feyre's also Feyre's good in her own way too. But it made me appreciate Aelin a lot more when she's like, I can't be in the front lines. Do you think that would stop Aelin? When I first read this book, the Battle of Hybern made no sense to me. I tried to comprehend things in the cauldron and the spinning around, but this reread I really did understand it a lot better. And because I understood a lot better, here are some things that I noticed that I don't think get talked about. I 100% believe Elaine has shadow abilities. I don't know if they're or she can winnow. I don't know if it's gonna be like Rhys or Azriel, but throughout the series it always says like Elaine popped up out of nowhere. She creeped from the shadows. When we are down in the battle, so Amren, Nesta, Elaine, and Feyre have to go to the cauldron, and together they have to touch it, say a spell, and they can break the cauldron or kill, I don't know. Oh, it's nullify the powers. That's what it's supposed to be. And if they do one, it'll kill someone. But if you do all 4 of them touching it, do it, and they share that impact together, they should all survive. So they're walking down, they're trying to get to the cauldron, but that's when Nesta feels Hybern using the cauldron and it kills half of the Illyrians up in the sky. And she saves Cassian. Okay. After that, Nesta is like hyperventilating, trying to breathe again because she just got overtaken with this big emotion. And Elaine's throwing up and shaking because of all the battle that's going on. And she's so scared of the killing and the weapons and people around her. And Amren, out of all people, is holding her. So that, again, so when she's near actual war and violence. She freaks out, throws up, starts shaking. Keep that in mind. When Feyre realizes that her sisters are not going to be able to make the journey to the cauldron, she has Rhys take Elin, and it says he takes her to the farthest part of their camp. Okay, so she's all the way back in Egypt, okay? All the way back lot. And so Feyre's moving forward, she's moving back. We're all in the same place right now? Okay. Nesta and Cassian are trying to draw the king away from the cauldron so Feyre can come up and with Amren and do the chants and the cheers and whatever. So, I don't know where Nesta is in relation to the cauldron and Elaine. Doesn't matter. So they're drawing her away. How the fuck did Elaine kill the king? I need someone to explain that to me. Let's just say for some great reason, she can't. So here's the thing. She can't walk to Nesta because she's afraid of the killing and the battles and the weapons, okay? So she's shaking in fear and freaking out, okay? So that means she had a winnow. She walked through the shadows. She had Azriel drop her down. I don't know. Second thing, how did she know where the king was? She didn't go to the cauldron because the last thing she knew is Feyre's going to the cauldron. So why didn't she go to the cauldron to see what was going on? She found the king. She found the king and Nesta at the right time. And apparently she got over her fear of killing and death because she right in his fucking throat. That is what I don't understand about all of this. I never understood why Elaine was the one that did the killing and the stabbing, because Nesta technically killed him. She's the one that did the stabbing. And she was so quiet, she was able to sneak up on the king. And I can understand there's a bunch of shit going on all around, that he maybe got distracted. I doubt it though. You know what I mean? I'm sure that motherfucker's ward up the ass with fucking warning bells, sirens, something about someone sneaking up on him. I don't know, but I don't think this is a writing issue. I feel like this is going to hopefully get explained in another book about her abilities, and we can get a flashback of how she was able to do these things. There's a theory that Elaine is evil, and I welcome it because I welcome something about this girl. Because I don't understand what she's here for. Besides look pretty in garden, but guess what? I can get someone else to do that too and be a badass, but that's just me. Another thing that I forget about is Nesta has physical powers. Every time I think about Nesta, she has death and she points at people and she can feel things. She actually was able to make a death blow, shoot it out of her hands, and blasted it at Hybrid. I forgot that she can actually physically make something besides scurrying with the rocks and the bones and blah, blah, blah. She was able to do that without needing like her crown or the harp or the mask or anything like that. That she was actually able to do that. And that's just like something that I forgot that she could do when I was reading this that kind of stood out. I don't know when the writing happened for this book, when it got announced that she was going to write more books for ACOTAR, because I'm assuming she knew she was going to write more books for ACOTAR, because the ending to me was weak, because they win the war, hooray! They all went back to the apartment. Everyone goes their own ways. Nesta's going upstairs because of dead dad. Cassian, I don't think they even explain where Cassian goes or Azriel. Amren goes to her apartment, and then Feyre and Rhys go for a little fucking nighttime fly, and that's the end of the book. And to me, if that was truly the ending of the series, because it's just supposed to be the 3 books, it was very weak. So she must have known that this series was going to continue, because ending didn't, like, there was no happy endings. It didn't even have to be a happy ending. It just needs to be some type of closure. Overall, I like this book because there's a lot of action. I love the Bone Carver. I like even the Weaver. I love Enif got it good by the Weaver. I really like the Bone Carver. I like the interactions with Cassian and Nesta. You start to see her start to open up a little bit more, and she could have been a part of the inner circle. She was getting there. Cassian gets hurt. Here's another thing about Cassian. Lord Bloodshed. He can kill a lot of people. Every book is getting his guts ripped out. Every fucking book, or his wings snapped. He's always getting hurt. Anyway, he's hurt again, and he's in a tent, And everyone walks out and there's Nesta holding like just an empty bucket, and she's so worried about like, is it good or news? And Feyre goes, he's fine, just needs rest. And then Mor goes, don't you need to fill up that bucket? Don't you need to go do something about this? Come with me. I am very happy that you came out to your true self finally to Feyre and told her a little truth about you being bisexual and prefer women. That is great. Congratulations. Welcome. Here's the thing that makes me angry. You can't be protective and territorial of Cassian and Azriel if they show interest to other people. You can't. If you're not going to be with them or fuck them, if they show interest in someone else, you can't get all fucking huffy puffy and territorial over guys that you want nothing to do with. I don't know if you're trying to keep them as backup in case for some reason you don't find love after 500 years, but it's time to let them go and do their own fucking thing and stop being a snake. Okay? Okay. Thank you. Again, I like this book. I like the wars. I understand the war scene a lot better. I love the High Lord meeting so much. I love Feyre going and fucking shit up in the Spring Court. I love the interaction with Nesta and I was gonna say Castile. I like the interaction with Nesta and Cassian. I liked a lot of it. I love Rhys. Always a good time to have Rhys. And you find a little bit more about Azriel, and he actually talks more and helps Feyre learn how to fly. But I have a lot of complaints in this book, and it's not even like big Tamlin complaints. So I'm going to give this book 4 out of 5 stars. Again, I do love this series, but rereading it, I'm picking up more things from like, what are we doing? I originally wanted to reread this so I can find little seeds about how it ties in with Crescent City, but I'm finding more things that I'm just like, what are we doing? Let me know if you guys agreed, disagreed. I want to know your thoughts and feelings. I want to know how you guys feel about this book. If I ranted too much about my complete disdain for Mor. I can't be the only one that thinks she's garbage. I can't be. I know you're beautiful. You're garbage though. But let me know in the comments below. Let's rant and rave together, and I'll see you guys in the next one.